Today, we are going to discuss the connection between how milk can make you a ton of money, and it is not how you think. Now, understanding this principle that we can learn from milk, you will start accumulating wealth within 6 months. So stick to the end because I'm going to show you, and I'm going to tell you a technique that you can start using that will get you money within 6 months. So without further delay, we need to understand the history of milk. Now, milk is not something that was always just available in your fridge. It took a tremendous amount of labor for people to actually harvest it. And then it also took another tremendous amount of labor for them to store it. And so then when the process was over, it essentially was something that was not readily available. It was really only abundant. And the first time that we know about this, we're going to talk about it in ancient Egypt. So if you've never heard of her, there's a famous Egyptian queen by the name of Cleopatra, who was the queen of Egypt from 69 to 30 BCE. And she would bathe in donkey milk. And people would say that it was because of her skin's beauty. However, I'm here to tell you that she did it for a different purpose. The reason she did it was to stay a queen, to make more money. And I know that sounds crazy, but stick with me here. So records of milk prices during Cleopatra's times are very difficult to find, essentially almost non-existent. So we need to use some estimates to figure out how much milk would have cost, because it wouldn't have been readily available. So in order to get it alone would have been a luxury on its own. And so you kind of have to do some ballpark estimates. So in order for this estimate to work, I went with I tried to underestimate all of the numbers that I got. So her preference in particular was donkey milk, which is even more expensive because donkeys only produce about half a gallon of milk per day compared to cows, which produce 6 to 8 gallons per day. Now, if you go through the numbers, you start, and again, they weren't even in dollars. They had drachmas was their currency. So you have to convert from drachmas to dollars to today's value. And what you find, get this, what you find is that 1 gallon of donkey's milk for Cleopatra would have cost anywhere from about $250 to $500 for 1 gallon. 250 gallons. $250 to $500 per gallon. Insane. Absolutely crazy. And then if we flash forward a little bit to when we know that this technique was used again, we have Empress Elizabeth, who was in the 1800s, and she was a European empress, and she would use cow's milk. Because again, it was more plausible. But even then, it was about $10 per gallon for her. Now, today, day and age, if you don't know, you probably do, gallons of milk go from about $3.50, $3.80 to probably $4. If inflation has hit it, it's probably higher. So we're even talking about in the 19th century, so the 1800s, it was up around $10, and we had rich people using it to bathe in. And we had Cleopatra spending $250, maybe $500 per gallon for this stuff. So therefore, in order to bathe in it, you need about 50 to 100 gallons. So you know what that means? That means that Cleopatra, to bathe in milk, was spending anywhere from $25,000 to $50,000. Let me say that again. She was spending $25,000 to $50,000 per bath to bathe in donkey milk. Now, you might think that's insane, but if you put your logical brain off for a second, if you put a pause on it, there's a geniusness here. Because now, here's the thing. Let's extrapolate this out. If you were to take this in the 19th century, it would still be luxurious because you would be spending about $1,000 on a bath of milk, which is insane. And obviously, today's day and age, no one's going to do this. And before I get there, this is not the technique. You do not have to bathe in milk. You actually probably shouldn't. I don't know about the hygiene of it, but I do know that it is not going to behave the same. And we'll explain why it's not going to behave the same a little bit later in the recording. So what was the spiritual knowledge? What was it that Cleopatra knew that we have somehow forgotten, or the elites of this world know, but we do not? She understood the power of quantum energy. She understood the power of atoms and the way that atoms work. So here's what happens. When something's extremely expensive, the electromagnetic field, the energy of that atom, is very rich, very vibrant, a lot of money, right? It's gold-plated, if you will. A good way to visualize this is if you've ever seen Ant-Man Quantumania, because in it, they get sucked down into the quantum realm. And in the quantum realm, there's an entire world of its own. Now, every single object, every single room, that quantum realm exists in. So the quantum, for example, of, let's say, a homeless person living under a bridge is going to be very poor, very dirty, very cheap. But if you go into a nice mansion, a $20, $50 million mansion, it's going to be insanely expensive. The quantums will be very rich. So what happened with milk was, in Cleopatra's time, that quantum was gold. It was luxury. To have a bath of just, what was it, 100 gallons, let's say, of donkey's milk? I know it sounds insane. But to have 100 gallons of donkey's milk would cost you $50,000, and she would bathe in it. Think about that. And at the time, if you walked by, you like, wow, she's rich. Be like the equivalent today of walking by someone with, I don't know, a really nice car, like a Rolls Royce or something. Because that would be the type of people who would do this. So by her bathing in that richness, those rich quantums, her skin, her DNA was becoming infused with the milk, the quantums of the milk. She was absorbing it into her skin. She was becoming richer. Her quantum was becoming influenced by the milk. Are you following me here? It was her only choice. Any poor energies that maybe she picked up throughout the day would be purged. They'd be destroyed by rich energies. Now, I know this sounds crazy. I know everything I just said sounds absolutely insane, but you don't have to take my word for it. You can actually do a very simple test. And here comes your homework for the day. And again, this is only if you want to make more money. I want you to go and look at the soap that you're using. If you go into your bathroom, you have a bar of soap, or maybe it's detergent, whatever it is. Look at it. I bet it's super cheap. I bet you grab the cheapest one possible because there's no reason to get any other one. I bet that it probably costs less than $3 a bar. And what you should do now, whenever you start to do this, is look at the dollars per ounce whenever you measure it. So maybe you got a 5-ounce bar and you spent $3 on it, which would bring it down to less than $1 per ounce. You need to become like Cleopatra. You need to start using expensive soap if you want to get rich, if you want to make money, if you want to beautify your quantum, your energies. There's a really good one I recommend as a starter, if you will. It's called Mysore, Mysore, sandalwood soap. You can find it on Amazon. It's a good starter one. It's about $20 for a bar. Now remember, I hope you have a budget, because remember, you need to be able to sustain this for 6 months. It shouldn't cause you more stress. You shouldn't be more anxious using it. That's a big key part of this too. You want to make sure you're still calm. You're the same person. The only variable that you're changing is you're spending more money on soap for the next 6 months. Now, if you have it in your budget, I say go even higher. Personally, I use a Hermes brand soap, and I think it's $50 or $60 for like a 3-ounce bar. And Mom, I know you just had a heart attack, so sorry, love you, give it a try. But what I'm saying here is you need to up your quantum. Use it for 6 months and see what happens. But remember, do not become more stressed. You have to be calm. So whatever your range is, however much money you can spend on this little experiment, try it. Of course, the more expensive the soap you use, the more impactful the outcome will be. And it's logarithmic too. It's not linear. So by going from a $3 piece of soap to $20 is drastic. But if you go from $3 to $50, it's going to be exponential, the increase that you'll see. And this is one of the techniques I used to go from being absolutely broke to making over the $10,000 per month in less than a year. And I'm telling you, it'll take 6 months. And here's the thing. If it works, you come back, you comment on this video, you comment on this podcast, and you'd be like, wow, it worked. 6 months later, here I am. Click the date. Make sure you write down the date in which you heard these words. You map out on your calendar. You take notes. You write down which soap you were using, what its cost was per ounce, then the soap you bought, cost was per ounce, your income per month. See what your income is. Use it for 6 months. Don't do anything else. And watch money just come to you. It'll gravitate towards you because now you are aligning your quantums, your energetic quantums, your atoms, your DNA will start being upgraded to richer and richer frequencies. And then after 6 months, each month, document your monthly income. Document the bar of soap that you bought, how much more you spent on soap in these coming months compared to the last months. Watch. Look, I'm only crazy if it doesn't work. You have no right to sit there, comment, oh, this is stupid. Bah, 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 bah. Go try it. Go try it and see what happens. I bet you it works. Bet you. I know because I did it. That's why I can sit here with the utmost confidence that it does work. So upgrade your soap. That's pretty much it. So with that being said, conscious monkeys, I love you all. I appreciate you all. And I will see you all with richer quantums. And I will see you in the 6th dimension.